Thanks anybody who's joining us. We're sorry for the little bit of delay. As always, this new world where we do everything via our laptops and phones can get a little crazy sometimes. So we were working out some glitches, but we're here now. And today I have several of my friends from our UAF Facility Services Department, Jenny Campbell, Nathan Platt, and Cameron Wolford. We're going to talk about all things facilities and what everybody has been up to all summer, because boy, those teams have just been going like gangbusters trying to get everything ready for the fall. But first, we usually try and talk about ice cream. Does anybody have ice cream today? No ice cream.
I have moose tracks.
Moose tracks. Well, that's appropriate for our campus because we oftentimes have moose on our campus. I have today, I'll share with you guys because it's so pretty. Let's see if I can hold it up. I have blueberries.
Oh my gosh.
And vanilla ice cream.
Wow.
Nice. The blueberries are ripe in Fairbanks right now, and people are just going nuts picking them. If you look on any of our social feeds, people are posting pictures of blueberry bushes all over the place. So definitely blueberries and ice cream time. So, boy, I don't hardly even know where to start. You guys have, it's always a busy time during the summer for facility services, isn't it? Just in a normal year?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Okay. But this year, you know, we've got with this pandemic and everything, I know that there's just been a ton of work. I remember, Jenny, one of our early conversations, I know we were talking a lot about plexiglass and how much plexiglass you guys were working with. What's been going on with plexiglass all over campus? Because I know we've been using a bunch of it.
Yeah, well, I can start and then I'll turn it over to Nathan because he's heading that up and could probably even quote some numbers about how many sheets we've used and how many man hours we've put in so far. But our goal was to provide plexiglass barriers for every face-to-face sort of transactional business location, you know, the bursar's office, the SRC, places where people come up and they need personal service. So that's where we started. And then it's grown a little bit based on where, you know, individual office setup. There's been discussions about faculty. There's labs, you know, where we're trying to increase occupancy in labs so that if we can put a plexiglass barrier in, maybe we can increase the occupancy and get more students going. So that's sort of our goal. Nathan looks at every single request individually and determines if it, you know, fits our criteria. And then they go ahead and make them. We've got installations that are more permanent, and we've got many that are portable and just sit on counters, as well as a design that we've developed to send out to rural Alaska. So
awesome. So you guys don't just serve our campuses, our sites here in Fairbanks. You also serve all of our rural sites as well. Yeah,
and they took priority in some senses because, you know, there's a lot of back and forthing for every single shield that we put up, and to truly understand their needs and to design it and then build them, package them and send them. We wanted to make sure that we would get those out to rural Alaska first. And I think, Nathan, the last order went out earlier this week.
It did. So we had 7 or 8 remote sites request plexiglass barriers built in custom sizes. And we got those orders and got pictures of the area. And then our carpentry lead drew up a design and sent it out for approval. And then we built them and shipped the pieces out to the remote sites. So they've gone to all over the state. We're doing the same thing on the campus. Jenny, you asked about how many sheets we've gone through, and I was just kind of doing an estimate in my head, probably 45 sheets with another probably 50 yet to go. That's 4x8 sheets, and we got some 6x10 sheets as well that we've been working with too. So
that's the size of a big piece of plywood, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
We're talking about a lot of plexiglass.
It's a lot of plexiglass, and it's getting hard to source. So, you know, pretty quickly, the vendors in Fairbanks ran out, and we've been sourcing it out of a supplier in California who can get it to us pretty quickly. So we had a pallet of about 40 sheets show up couple of weeks ago, and we're just about through that. And we've got another pallet of 50 sheets on its way from that same place in California now. So last I checked, there were about 45 requests that we haven't gotten to yet, and we're working through them as quickly as we can.
So this is, people probably in the public are familiar with seeing these plexiglass things like at stores and banks and stuff like that. Is that basically the same type of thing we're doing?
Yep, exactly the same.
Okay, all right. And that's just to try and keep both the public and the individual, the employee that's working there, provide an extra barrier.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, those folks at the front lines interact with lots and lots of people every day. So that's really important to help keep them safe.
Yeah, we started in the obvious places: the bursar's office, financial aid, the registrar, residence life, the food service areas of campus. And now we've gone out to the department reception desks and places like that where there will be a lot of public interaction.
Yeah. Boy, that just sounds like a ton of work. I'm trying to visualize in my mind what all that plexiglass looks like stacked up. Must be pretty crazy.
It's crazy. Yep.
It's a big pile.
I know another thing that you guys have been working on has been just trying to figure out how to configure our classrooms and rooms in general, so that we can keep that 6 feet of distance between people and, but maximize our space too. How does that work? It sounds really complicated.
That's a Cameron question.
That's a Cameron question.
Well, I have a really great group here at DDC, student engineers that have been working on that. We developed some guidelines based on CDC, school classroom guidelines, and some other institutions that had kind of gotten ahead of that on for us. And we just went out and started doing it. So it's 6 foot rule, nose to nose is kind of the rule. It's also got to go, it's not just front to back, but it's side to side also. So imagine a bubble around you that's 6 feet in diameter. And so you take a classroom that might hold 70 people on an ordinary day.
Yeah.
And with social distancing, we're down to 29 or 30 people in that classroom. So it's been quite a challenge. DDC directly set up the 57 general registrar classrooms that they want to use this fall. And we're helping all of the departments with their classroom and laboratory setup. The labs have been really unique to work with. A student needs to be able to get hands-on. Sometimes students even need to work side by side. And we're still figuring out the side by side thing, how that's going to process. It's just a few labs like that, but we're working on those. But yeah, it's been an exciting 4 weeks getting classrooms and labs set up, and we've kind of moved from those rooms into public spaces this week and trying to lay out those really awesome study spaces we have in like engineering and Miri to allow students to use them to even distance themselves from other students during times between classes.
Yeah.
But still maintain a good, healthy environment in there.
Interesting. So do you actually, obviously we have floor plans of all of our buildings. Do you just base them on the floor plans, or do you actually have to go in there and like try it out?
Go measure.
How does it work?
Yep, we had to go measure. So we started with the fire code occupancy and reduced it in half. That was our first task.
Yeah.
And then we went to the floor plans and did the bubble diagrams and said, here's what that proved. And then we actually deployed into the field, into those spaces. And what we found generally, because UAS classrooms have been built, between 1950s and now. There's all different sorts of arrangements, shapes, furniture, and that has really challenged us in laying these rooms out. That's why we had to go into each individual one. We used 6 foot PVC pipe, made triangles out of those, and literally took students and set them in those triangles and spaced everyone. It was a really fun exercise to do. And so that yielded furniture that you can't sit in. So we've moved it out in the hallway for now just to get our rooms laid out. And so our next steps are dealing with all that furniture. And you might see, come this fall, you might go into a classroom and still see all the furniture in there, but you'll see some really big red stickers that say, don't sit here. That means you shouldn't sit there.
I saw some of those on JR. Our photographer went in and was taking some classes or some photos in the engineering building to sort of show people what a class would look like. And I saw them; they were on there. They turned out really awesome.
They did. They turned out really good.
We've got the I have an example of the sit here sticker that corresponds.
That's the sit here, and then the red is the don't sit here.
That's
And
awesome.
we also, other places where we're going to be stacking furniture up or, rearranging furniture so that we can keep that distance, we'll have another sign that says, please don't move the furniture.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, that'll be, you'll probably have to use some of that in like common areas too, like in Wood Center or in some of those areas in Murray too, just to remind people, or even in dining, just to remind people not to scooch tables together and stuff like that. Because it's kind of a storage challenge, right? To figure out where to put all of that extra furniture, I imagine.
Yes.
Storage
is we have some ideas of where we'll take it.
We'll need it back eventually, but always good to have some space to put it. So you guys have gone through most of the classrooms, and that then tells like our registrar's office, right? How many people can register for an in-person class?
Exactly. And boy, they have been challenged trying to find enough classrooms to hold the face-to-face classes in. They're still working on it, and we're still working with them and to maximize out safely those spaces.
Yeah. No, I imagine. I think of the, some of the rooms in the different buildings, and you're right, because they were, some of them are in older buildings. Sometimes they have like a random post somewhere or a weird little, dog leg in the wall or something like that. And it makes it, it's like, oh, oops, all of a sudden we have to move the whole diagram over a foot or something like that to make room for that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, hi, Alan. Hi, Ian. Alan Mitchell said, yeah, classroom in Bunnell doesn't always equal a classroom in Greening. So hats off to you guys for making that work.
Sullivan. I want to say hi to Ian Sullivan. He and I were students together back in the mid-90s, and he worked here as a server administrator in the early 2000s. It's good to see you, buddy.
Awesome. You were saying, Cam, that you guys have had some student engineers actually working on this too?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we have a great group of student engineers. We've always been very lucky in hiring interns here through the College of Engineering and Mines, and they're just been a fabulous group to work with. Gave them minimal instructions, gave them the guidelines, and they took off with it and did just a fabulous job.
Yeah, definitely. So what are some other considerations that you guys are dealing with our kind of our physical spaces when it comes to having classes and having people on campus in this environment? You mentioned something, Jenny, about like HVAC systems, or I think somebody asked a question last week about that, about ventilation. Is that something we've been looking into over the summer?
Yes. And this is a Nathan question. Go ahead, Nathan. I don't need to take up airtime.
Sure. So we've had a lot of questions about building ventilation and concern for virus spread, kind of the building ventilation systems as a way to spread the virus. And just to be clear, of course, HVAC systems can be used to help mitigate virus spread, but they're certainly not going to make the building safe. So we have a lot of questions about, or safer, a lot of questions about filters and air exchanges and that sort of thing. So what our HVAC shop is doing is seeing where we can increase air exchanges in spaces like, air exchanges per hour or air exchanges over a 24-hour period. We're turning off programming that we have built into our building automation systems where we shut down air handlers at night. We call them night setbacks. So we're turning those off so that in the hours when the buildings aren't occupied, the air handlers continue to run just to exchange the air in the space.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, we're reducing the amount of what we call return air that we're using. Many of our systems are designed with kind of a mix of outside air and recycled air. And to wherever we can, we're turning that off or down. As it gets colder outside, that gets harder. But our HVAC team, our building automation team, is working really hard to figure out how to make that better. So we're going to prioritize air exchange rather than prioritizing energy efficiency in the spaces.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yep.
I imagine the first step to that is just getting, I mean, you guys know the buildings, but just really getting a good handle on what all the sort of options you had in each building for that kind of thing.
Yeah, every building's different. Like Cameron said with classrooms, they were built between the 50s and in 2020, 2019. So everyone's a little bit different. The newer buildings, it's a lot easier to make changes. And in the older buildings, it's a little bit more challenging, but we have a great team and they're working through it.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are handling, I know you guys are handling all the signage and stuff like that around campus. I know our team helped develop some stuff, but you guys you're doing things like decals on doors and signage all over campus just to remind people to do stuff. I can't remember. How many of those signs did we have printed, Jenny? Like 100 and some?
Oh,
A whole bunch?
we're going to be printing thousands of signs. Well, we've got the Nanox stand together 6 feet apart signs for, queuing up in lines. We have entry and exit. We're trying to keep people entering in one door and exiting in another door. Then yes, I think we're hanging 100 acrylic poster holders across campus with the reminders of social distancing and such. And we're also going to be printing the window clings and that sort of thing for departments to use, within their own space, because facilities is taking care of common areas, exteriors of buildings, and that sort of thing. But then we'll be asking the departments to, work with us and figure out where they need it in their own suites. And then we can help with that.
You guys are managing people maybe don't realize how much just stuff like, sanitizer and hand sanitizer and wipes. And there's just a ton of stuff that we kind of need to use to operate in this environment. And you guys are handling ordering and everything for that, aren't you? I mean, does your warehouse look like crazy right now?
Yes.
It's full. And as a matter of fact, we're working on a communication right now that hopefully will go out next week about sanitation and PPE and more details on ordering supplies. And I want to give a shout out to the chemistry department who has stepped up to help actually manufacture and, make hand sanitizer and sanitizing spray. Because I would say one of our bigger challenges right now is that, everybody across the nation is dealing with this. And so supplies, I mean, there are no hand sanitizing wipes that you can buy right now. And so
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. People from chemistry they've stepped up, and I mean, you can buy a 55-gallon barrel of isopropanol, and then so we can make it, and then we're coming up with plans to dispense it. But we can't buy all the bottles, so we're going to have a recycle program, a reuse program. So we're working on all of that, along with the masks. I think in the warehouse, gosh, we have like 63,000 disposable masks on hand right now, and about 35,000 cloth reusable masks. And so those are all, ready to start distributing to departments and people that need them.
That's just, all of this stuff, I try and envision what that must just look like. I mean, I'm thinking of a really big pile of boxes.
That's what it looks like. Yep.
Yeah, I know we just got a bunch of the masks from FEMA in just, I think this week, didn't we? We had a big order in with them, and those came in.
Yeah, Nathan,
that's cool. We're going to be able to
have
provide
one of those
that.
in your office, don't you?
White ones? I did. I set it down somewhere else, but they. No, I don't have one. They're kind of cool, white, just plain white face masks with some kind of an antimicrobial, antiviral coating on them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
25,000 of those.
Oh, did you really? I thought we only got 5.
Well, we got 5,000 packets of 5.
Oh.
Slight miscommunication.
We won't run out.
Well, that's good though. It's nice to have extras of those. I know, like at my house, I have, several masks for each one of my family members. And so it's nice to be able to switch them out and stuff if you don't want to have to do laundry every day. So
Exactly.
yeah. And we're providing students and employees with at least one of those reusable masks, right? Because you have to wear masks when you're on campus in any sort of common area. So
Yeah, we'll be providing one branded mask per staff, faculty, and student. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, those are a little ways out, right? We're getting those in closer to the beginning of the academic year, I think. But
yeah, I think the 10th.
Yeah. Awesome. Gosh, just a whole lot of details that go into preparing. I know you guys probably have just been blanketing the campus with hand sanitizer dispensers and stuff like that. I think that happened pretty early on, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think of other things that people have asked questions about. Are there things that you guys have gotten a lot of questions about other than the air handling that you think people need to know?
I've got one, Marmion.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cameron.
That's contractors wearing masks. We have had quite a few questions and queries to our department about the requirement for contractors to wear masks. And up until the chancellor's mandate was issued, we really didn't have a lot of ground to stand on, but we do now. And we've worked with the contractors. They are, for the most part, complying. However, if you see something, say something, and we'll address it with those contractors. We believe that every one that we have working in construction or design on the campus has gotten the message. But if there's anybody out there that sees a contractor working and feels that they should be wearing a mask, especially if they're indoors, just let us know, and we can address that.
So what should they just call the dispatch number if they want to let you know, or is there an email they should use?
They can call our Design and Construction's front office number 5299, and we can deal with it from there.
Yeah, and that's 474-5299.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
And
Yeah,
Marty,
that's good.
I would say that goes to ABM as well. We get a lot of questions about ABM and the custodial crews wearing and not wearing masks. By contract, ABM is supposed to follow the university guidelines and policies.
Okay.
So as soon as the chancellor's policy came out, we started enforcing that. So the same goes, if ABM employees are seen without wearing masks, call 7,000 on that one.
Yeah, and ABM is our custodial contractor, so that's the folks you see going around keeping our areas clean. Yeah, it's good to have, just having that sort of consistent message, and that, standing policy probably helps a lot. Not only on the enforcement end, but just letting people know what's expected of them. Most people want to follow the rules if they know what they are. So
right.
We have quite the quorum. Oh,
that's a good thing. Boy, so it sounds like you guys have gotten a lot done, and that's on top of your normal stuff, right? You always have normal sort of maintenance projects going on throughout the summer. I know we have, I don't know if I don't think it's our project, but there's some paving and road work going on right at the, that main intersection there, by the power, up from the power plant. Is that getting close? I haven't been on campus in a long time.
Yeah, the road's open. We're just working on sidewalks and landscaping. Between all the rain we've had this summer and COVID, we've had a few delays. So what should have been done the first week of July will likely extend to about August 6th or 7th, right around there.
Yeah. Well, that's soon enough, though. We've got when students don't come back until a couple weeks after that, so we'll be in good shape there.
It's going to be really nice, though, when it's done.
Yeah, is it? I'm really excited to see it. That's such an odd intersection anyways, and so it'll be nice to have a little revamp on there.
Yeah.
Alan put in a question here. I guess if you see an ABM employee and they're not masked and you ask them to and they put it on, I would let it go. You don't need to call us. Only if they don't, respond positively to your question. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes in general to sort of just the culture we're trying to build on campus. We want to make sure that everybody knows that, it's each one of us has a lot of responsibility just to try and take these safety measures seriously, and make sure we're wearing our masks and washing our hands and staying 6 feet apart and all of those things. And so sometimes we have to help remind each other too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Marmy and there's a couple other things that I wouldn't mind talking about. And one is classrooms specifically. So ABM they are doing enhanced cleaning right now, and they will still be cleaning classrooms every night.
Okay.
So when students and faculty get to classrooms, they'll be clean. We will have sanitizing stations in every single classroom. And so while it's not required, we're encouraging students to clean their desks before they sit down. And, it's that kind of conscious cleaning effort that will really help keep everybody safe. We can't go
That's a good point. So there's going to be stuff. Students aren't going to have to worry about carrying Clorox wipes in their backpack or anything. Everything's going to be there for them, so they can go ahead and clean their desk when they get there, and when they're done, clean it so they can take, they can make sure that their area is clean when they're using it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
We are actually, we're building welcome kits for all residential students. And those welcome kits will have, I think it's an 8-ounce bottle of sanitizing spray and some microfiber cloths. So, as they go through their day, they have those supplies as well as the ones we're providing in the classrooms.
Yeah. They might want to use that for if they're living in the residence halls too, they might want to use that for their door handles or something like that, or places within their residence too.
Yeah, exactly. And then another thing that some of Nathan's crew has done is we've gone all through campus and we've turned the water supply off to drinking fountains.
Yep.
And rather than bag the whole thing, which kind of looks run down, we've just put a small baggie over the actual spout, but the water is turned off to those. And then we've put a sign that says, due to COVID, these are temporarily unavailable.
Yep.
But we have kept all bottle filling stations operational because those are touchless. So that's something that people will see as they start coming back to campus as well.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. So bring your water bottle with you.
Exactly.
You can fill it up there. You just can't do the drinking fountain thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Nathan, you were starting to say something earlier when we were talking about questions that people had. Did you have something that people have asked you?
I noted a question way at the very beginning of our session here about the showers on campus, and I just wanted to make sure that we address that. And I'm going to defer to Jenny because I'm not sure exactly where we're at with that, but I wanted to not let that one get by.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. I would say that we haven't had a specific conversation about it. And we are still in phase B, so that has some limitations for things like showers. But I will bring that up. The OST, which is the operations support team, meets with the chancellor and the core cabinet 3 times a week now. So I'll bring that up next week, and we can have a discussion about when we want to open showers. Right now, we don't have a date.
Yeah. At the Wood Center, part of our COVID preparedness program is we're actually installing card swipes on the Wood Center showers. So students, faculty, staff that want to use those when they reopen will need to bring their Polar Express.
Yeah. I do know that issue has been, on everybody's radar, and people have been thinking about sort of the best way to handle it. So really appreciate people bringing it up, bringing it to our attention. It's certainly something that we need to discuss and get a decision on as we head into the fall semester. But those card swipes will help kind of help manage access for sure if we do decide to open them back up again.
Yep.
For sure. All right. Well, we're a few minutes over time, but is there anything else you want to, just want to make sure people know or want to share with all the viewers? We've been up around 30 throughout the throughout the show, so that's pretty good. You guys are popular.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
If you have questions,
safe,
feel free
stay
to reach
healthy.
out to facilities. If there's things we're not thinking about that really ought to be done, we've had some great ideas come from just folks on campus that said, hey, you guys should think about doing this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you guys have like a generic departmental email that people could send notes to if something comes up?
Well, for work requests, they can put in what we call an eWARF, an electronic work order form, and that's on our website at uaf.edu/FS for facility services. And our contact information is on that page as well.
All right, very good. I'll make sure I share that in the comments so that if folks want to reach out to you guys, they can. I want to thank you for coming here on the show today. You guys and your teams do such amazing work at keeping our campus running. We truly could not operate without you. So really appreciate all the work you're doing and spending some time with us here today.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.